Hello and welcome. My name's Kevin. This is Do It for Bruce. We're here in CK3 once more with you all for another time lapse. Last time we talked about the 867 start date and getting a baseline for the Iberian struggle. Now we've gone ahead and started the 1066 start date to also do the same. We're going to play it all the way to 1250 5 times in a row, just because it's a good time to see how well the mechanics are being used by the AI. Predictions. So last time we saw a lot more Christian dominance. Change in the mechanics with more Christians in the Iberia. I think we will still see more Catholic dominance as well as just Christian as a whole. I still think that the AI won't be able to beat the struggle in its own right, but last time I was proven wrong. I think it's too short of a time for them to get that done. It will be interesting to see the empires of the world if they stay whole after that amount of time. So I'm going to guess that majority of them, I think the Holy Roman Empire will stay just because of their election cycle, but the Byzantines and the Seljuks might. In imploding these 5 time lapses, and we will zero in on one of them that is the most interesting. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, here we are in our last time lapse. I chose this one just because it just seemed like a lot of empires had been formed, as well as it was just interesting breakdown of the Iberian struggle as a whole. Interesting enough, none of the 4 other ones were able to have a finished Iberia within the 183 years. No surprise there. It's not enough time for the AI to get to, but the constellation phase seemed to have been the major phase that everybody went into, and I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe just because it's easier to make friends, or they're more likely to give each other gifts or take each other on little trips, or one of the many myriad of reasons to drift towards that. As for this world that we are currently watching, looks like the HRE has become one of the most dominant forces in Europe, but also Britannia was formed, which is super surprising. The Byzantines are around. Seljuk has long since imploded. Mongols also seem to have an interesting flavor of Nestorianism. Enough about that. Let's look at our normal progressions. First and foremost, it looks like around the world we have probably more Christians being the dominant faith, but I think Catholicism is numero uno, then Asheri Orthodox. Next, let's go to culture, because it's always good to look at the cultures. We got some Andalusian Baronies, and we have some Quacar Baronies. What is Quacan? Quacan is another Andalusian. English looks like the Normans won that start. Normandy, and then a house. Persian, Bedouin, Buryat, pretty standard stuff. Not a lot of mix. I thought there was more mix in Iberia than anywhere else, and also just not big enough time for them to like get really gross with it, you know. For languages and see who's got the biz. Yeah, Mongolic with 323 counties that are controlled by them. After that, it's maybe the Germans with 262. Boil down to what's happening in Iberia. Surprisingly enough, the HRE is currently in a war for some small duchy of Valencia. They're like literally fighting over one county, which is classic. Looks like they're getting outplayed, which is surprising. A country with only 29 realm counties is getting whooping up on a country with 262. Interesting that that's happening. How about these Jimena family members? Decent amount of things. Pain, because she inherited a bunch of land that is not the correct religion. I'm surprised she hasn't flipped already to that. Also, they're in tons of debt. AI, classic AI moves, always in debt. It seems like the AI doesn't have enough time to go through the phases. With only 183 years, Mulwadi is still hanging on at this point, but I see the tide is coming. With Galicia being this strong, and the HRE still just being on their doorstep, and both nations being in super debt, I could see this nation imploding pretty soon here, especially with the amount of kids they have. That's pretty rough. Yeah, and they still have partition on. Oof. Yeah, if we kept running this AI only, we'd probably see within 2 years, or not 2 years, that's a good understanding of what's occurring here. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And as always, I will see you in the next episode. Ciao.